What's up, duelists? How's it going? Today, I've got a really cool video for you. But first, before we get into the video, I want to talk about two upcoming tournaments. The first one takes place on April 22nd in Germany. This is a PS5 tournament that Joshua Schmidt is helped putting on, and it's really exciting. If you're an EU player, if you're a German player, if you're in the general area, if you can easily get there, definitely go check it out. I think it's pretty cool to have these massive 200 player style Edison events in person. Paper Edison tournaments are a blast. I cannot recommend them enough. And then the next tournament I want to talk about, there's more details on both of these tournaments, by the way, in the Discord, in the description below, the really big Yu-Gi-Oh Discord, is the next RBET. The next RBET will take place on May 20th and 21st. And I've talked to Joshua Schmidt, and he's down to help co-host it. So we're going to be putting on that one together. It's going to be a little bit more EU-friendly time for the entry. It's a little bit earlier for Pacific time, West Coast Edison players, but 7 a.m. It could be a lot worse. It's not the best time for us, but we get all the other RBETs, so it's only fair, right? About half the players who enter are from the EU, so it's only fair that they get a shot at having a comfortable time to enter, so they're not playing their later rounds at like 4 a.m. or whatever it is. So that's the next RBET. It's going to be on May 20th and the 21st in the really big Yu-Gi-Oh Discord, so make sure and check that out. And this paper tournament is going to be in Germany, Joshua Schmidt, on April 22nd. Definitely go check that out. Now, for today's video, I like to watch people's replays sometimes. Sometimes I steal them and I eat them. I eat them up like a little snack, like a little tasty snack. But yeah, sometimes I steal some replays because I see some cool things happening, and I want to reflect upon those things. Today I'm going to show you these three replays because there are actually some really interesting things that happen in these three replays. Particularly in the rulings department, there's some crazy things that kind of come up here and there, but also, generally speaking, in the play department. Now, I am going to be showing both hands for these replays. This is not something I normally do. When I review my own replays, I show just my hand to talk about my thought process. But for these replays, I'm going to be showing both hands to kind of see what these players are up to. We've got Dragon of the West versus Cool Dead Punk in the first replay. Dragon of the West is playing what looks like Fairies, and Cool Dead Punk looks like he's playing probably Greffer Blackwings because we do see this Shura here. However, it could also be Vayu Turbo with like a Tech Shura. I know some of the decks, instead of Armageddon Knight, they play Shura, the Blue Flame. It helps improve their matchup in the mirror match. I'm not sure if that's good or not, but it is something that they have been adapting to some degree. Okay, yeah, Cool Dead Punk gets to go first. He opens up Trap Death Shoot, which is very powerful, but it's going to be not so great against this hand. The cool thing about Fairies is it's very resilient to Trap Death Shoot unless you only have one of these little guys. If you have two of these little guys, or if you have like a DD Warrior Lady and a Shining Angel, you have just a ton of redundancy, because Shining Angel is basically any card in your deck, and so is Nova Summoner, and you play a bunch of those, so Trap Death Shoot, just taking one of those, like, at best, your Trap Death Shoot is just going to give you a little bit of information on the back row. At worst, it's going to be a total brick. It's not really going to help you really accomplish much. Just because you know the player has 6 Shining Angels doesn't mean you can really do anything about it. So that's kind of it. But D-Prison's a really, really good pickup because D-Prison is pretty good against all these cards. So just set 2 pass. I think this is really interesting that he sets 2 pass, trying to get as much use out of his Sirocco and his Shura as possible. Not just slamming the Greffer, ditching the Vayu right away. I do wonder about this play because he has no ways to clear back row, so he's just setting himself behind a normal summon. Honestly, if I'm Cool Dead Punk, I'm summoning Greffer and I'm pitching Vayu. The reason being is because we have Trap Death Shoot to know about the back row, which means we know whether or not to play in a Mirror Force, which would be the only concern. And then we have D-Prison to protect our Dark Greffer, so we can then pitch the Sirocco on the next turn and make yet another Armed Wing if there's no, of course, Mirror Force, Torrential, that kind of thing. So I think that with this hand and with this configuration, it is much better to summon Dark Greffer, pitch the Vayu, and make an Armed Wing on the first turn of the game. Just because you don't have outs to back row like Bottomless or whatever, so just going behind a normal summon is not really worth it. And then you also have D-Prison to protect your Dark Greffer. So just the configuration of your back row plus the configuration of the spells that you don't necessarily have leads you to really want to get that normal summon going. The draw for Dragon of the West is Soul of Purity and Light, which is going to be a pretty good one in this matchup. Armed Wing cannot run it over. It's actually pretty difficult for this deck to run over in general. Even if they book it, they can't run it over with Sirocco or Shura, so it's pretty tough for them to deal with. Now, Dragon of the West starts off with Shining Angel attack. There are a bunch of different ways to approach this hand, and I mean a bunch. The first and obvious one for me is to summon DD Warrior Lady and attack. The reason being is because DD Warrior Lady is the least versatile card in this hand, and if for some reason the DD Warrior Lady gets attacked or banished or whatevered, then it automatically turns on your Dimensional Alchemist. Like, let's say you just attack with DD Warrior Lady, they take the 15, they pass, they set a monster or whatever, and they pass back to you. Now, do you summon the DD Warrior Lady to attack into the set monster? Do you risk that, or do you whatever? And let's say you're playing a mirror match, right? Let's say your opponent has a battle recruiter of their own, and they want to crash into your DD Warrior Lady. I think it's much better to have the DD Warrior Lady in play in general than have the Shining Angel in play. If it gets bottomless, good. You kind of want to trade for those two back row. And if it doesn't get bottomless, then also good. You get in 1500 damage and you've secured your position. It's much more easy for a DD Warrior Lady to get banished to turn on your Dialk than a Shining Angel. And it also means that if your opponent is just like setting a monster, like setting a Dandy next turn or setting a Dupe Frog or something of that nature, that you can just continue pressing with your DD Warrior Lady without being forced to commit into a sweeper. Generally speaking, I do like leading on DD Warrior Lady in this deck. Shining Angel can get you further copies of DD Warrior Lady, but it's a little more versatile in that it can also get you Dialks, or it can also get you Honest, or it can also get you Herald or whatever. Whereas DD Warrior Lady is just DD Warrior Lady, pretty much. Okay, the D Prison is going to banish Shining Angel. He goes Brain Control, being the draw for Cool Dead Punk. Now, it's really awkward that he didn't go for that Grepher plus Vayu play, because if he did, he'd just win the game. Like, he would legit just win the game on this turn. He would recognize that he could just pitch the Sirocco, summon the Shura, and that's over 8,000 damage. So it's basically a missed lethal by not going for that play on the first turn of the game. Here comes Grepher activate, no Herald from Dragon of the West. Now, I think it's actually very bad for Cool Dead Punk to save his Trap Dust Shoot here. Again, reason being is because this deck does play Herald of Orange Light. So if you're going Grepher pitch, and then they just Herald you, you get fucking owned. So I think you have to activate Trap Dust Shoot before activating Grepher. That's pretty much it. Just check for Herald, see what's up, see if you're attacking into Gores. Summon the fucking Armed Wing. There's literally no reason not to here. He's just missing so much. He's just not playing the deck that he's sleeved up. It doesn't make any sense to me. Giving Dragon of the West all the opportunities in the world to handle things. My brother in Christ, you have a Trap Dust Shoot. Why are you scared of Gores? That kind of thing. Anyway, here comes a Space Typhoon. Let's see if him holding the Trap Dust Shoot. No. He's not even going to try to get value out of the Space Typhoon. He's going to Trap Dust Shoot now. So I actually think this is the worst possible place to play this Trap Dust Shoot. If you're going to wait, you just keep waiting. That's literally it. If you're going to wait, you just keep waiting until you can maybe get a +1 off a Space Typhoon or a Heavy. That's it. Otherwise, you should have done it last turn before activating the Grepher. There's no reason to wait for this draw phase. Literally none. If you activate that Grepher and whatever, if they drop Gores, then it's just so bad for you. It's so bad for you. You have a Trap Dust Shoot set with a Gores and a 1700 token in play. Like, you get crushed. Game's over, right? Anyway, here they take the DD Warrior Lady. This doesn't make any sense at all because they do have Shining Angel. It is always better to take the Shining Angel here. Just always. It's always better to take the Shining Angel here. There's no reason to take the DD Warrior Lady. Anyway, Dragon of the West is going to summon Dialk most likely and attack over the Dark Grepher. Banishes Freed, which is a fantastic one. That's going to help him stabilize after the reversal push. And then he is going to set Call of the Haunted. Now, if I was Dragon of the West, I would probably set both. The reason being is because you have two back row, right? And he knows about both of them. So if he has his own Space Typhoon, you want to conceal the Call of the Haunted and set a chainable back row yourself. I think that's definitely correct. You're either playing around him having Space Typhoon or playing around him having Heavy Storm. If he has Heavy Storm, well, you know, whatever. But considering the way he's played this game, setting both D Prison and Trap Dust Shoot on turn 1, not activating his Trap Dust Shoot until like way later, you can pretty much safely assume he doesn't have, what's the card, Heavy Storm, unless he draws it this turn. Now, Cool Dead Punk finds Kalut off the top. This is also, again, probably just game. What is the plan here? He's missed over 11,000 damage at this point, considering the way he's played. But, you know, whatever. And he's going to miss a little bit more here, not activating his Vayu Sirocco for absolutely no reason. If you activate the Vayu and the Sirocco here, you go Armed Wing, or not Armed Wing, Shura plus Kalut, which is 3,200. Armed Wing, which is 2,300. So that's 50 bajillion. And then Brain Control on the Dimensional Alchemist, which is also game because you know about the back row. Like, you know it's called Space Typhoon. You've used Trap Dust Shoot. You've activated all of your cards, and they can't be stopped by any of the opponent's cards. And it's well over the lethal limit. So this is Cool Dead Punk missing lethal now for the third turn in a row. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think about things this way, but it's just like, you have perfect information. You know what your opponent can do. You have well over the lethal amount of damage, but you're just tunnel visioned on getting this +1 in card advantage. My brother in Christ, what are you saving the Brain Control for? Next game? I don't get it. Now, Dimensional Alchemist is able to add back Freed the Brave Wanderer, and Shura the Blue Flame is able to special summon Vayu from the deck. Vayu can attack for 800, which I am shocked that Dragon of the West did not Call of the Haunted his Dialk there. Why did you not do that? I don't understand. Stop the damage. Literally, just stop the damage. And then on top of that, I am shocked Cool Dead Punk did not make Ally of Justice Catastor main phase 2. Why not? Why not? What are you what? Catastor owns this deck. You know about Shining Angel in hand. You know about the Shining Angel. I don't know. This whole situation is just an interesting thing. It's just an interesting thing to your boy, personally. I feel like I'd always make Catastor in this matchup, because Catastor just crushes the Shining Angel you know about. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, here comes the Shining Angel. Now I'm thinking, okay, Dragon of the West is in a pretty bad spot. He has to summon Shining Angel. He has to attack into the Shura the Blue Flame, triggering it even more if there's more Vayus, which is pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know. It's like one of the only ways he can get through this situation. Either that, or he has to spend his Book of Moon just to get over this Shura, which is pretty bad too, because then he's just getting BrainCon reversaled. Or what he could do is Call the Haunted Dialk activate, try to crash with the Shura. And that's a pretty fucking good play, in my opinion, because then you get to add back your other Shining Angel. Your Shining Angel can clear this Vayu. You still get to keep your Book of Moon, which is a much better card because it can interact with the Armed Wing that you know is coming the next turn. It can also interact with Brain Control. It can also interact with Tuners. It can also interact with Dark Arm Dragon. So I feel like this is the worst of all the plays. You should try to trade your Call of the Haunted and Dialk for the Shura +1. Get your Shining Angel instead of going 1-for-1 with the Book of Moon on the Shura and getting rid of your key piece of interaction for the next turn. I think this is the worst of the plays. I think you always Call of the Haunted. I think you honestly wanted to Call of the Haunted on the Vayu attack, special the Dialk, to play around the opponent having Royal Oppression set main phase 2. On your turn, then, you would activate the Dimensional Alchemist, crash with the Shura, or attempt to at least crash with the Shura. If they have Kalut, fuck, that sucks, but at least you bait the Kalut out of the hand. You get to add back Shining Angel, and you still have your Book of Moon Shining Angel, so you can still run over the Shura that way. So you want to start with Call of the Haunted, end with Shining Angel, Book of the Moon, instead of start with Book of Moon and end with Call of the Haunted on Dialk, because now the Call of the Haunted on Dialk is not really getting you that much value. In any case, he goes for Book of Moon, and there's the punish. Royal Oppression is now found. Here comes Brain Control, Synchro into Catastor. Again, because he wasn't able to clear both monsters, because he didn't Call the Haunted on Dialk. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to anyway because of the Kalut, but he would have at least been able to attack over the Vayu, set his Book of Moon, and then parry any offense and still have Shining Angel in play. So it would have been a much better situation for him, honestly. I'll have Justice. Catastor's going to attack here. Here comes Call of the Haunted just to stop life points. This is, again, much worse use of his Call of the Haunted than potentially getting a +1 out of it on the last turn and establishing a much better position for himself. Here comes Ally of Justice Catastor, crashing with the Dialk, adding back Shining Angel to the hand. I honestly don't even really understand this. I think you just take the 2200. The opponent, for some reason, is just like really not using his Armed Wing, just for no fucking reason at all, despite you having, like, him knowing all of your 4 cards. He is not using his Armed Wing to just press extra damage. He's missed, at this point, 14,000 damage this game, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, anyway, here comes the Freed that's going to pop the Ally of Justice. An attack is going to be made for 1,700 damage. And then are we finally going to see set 2? No, we're still just going to see set 1. You know he doesn't have Heavy Storm. You know he wouldn't use it because it's Space Typhoon anyway. He knows about Space Typhoon anyway. So you just set both, basically. There's literally no reason not to. Again, you want to play around Typhoon if you can, or Nobleman of Extermination, which is sometimes played in these Dark Grepher lists. So there's like more reasons to set both, less reasons to set neither. You want to be able to M-phase Typhoon and Icarus attack here, for example. You don't want to let that happen. You want to be able to interact with both Armed Wing activation and normal summon Black Whirlwind. And you need both of these set to be able to do that. Okay, here comes the Armed Wing activation, or value activation, finally. For some reason, I don't know what he was saving these values for. Next game, maybe. He wanted to play an interactive game when he had OTK literally turn 2. Attacks the Freed. Kills it. Honestly, why did you not summon the Sirocco first? I don't get it. Summon the Sirocco first. My brother in Christ, you have 18 values in the graveyard. I don't get it. Dragon of the West, not using his torrential. Exercising some patience here, which I do like this play. You don't want to spend the torrential till you're getting a +1 out of it, pretty much. But looks like your opponent's not going to give you that +1. Just set 2. And now it's too risky to blind Space Typhoon in the back row. You just have to set Shining Angel. And if you get Icarus attacked here, you get owned. So that's why you wanted to set the Space Typhoon. God damn fucking shit. Now you're setting the Space Typhoon. Okay. For sure, for sure. Anyway, here comes the lure. That's going to find Deep Prison Bottomless. Going to banish Sirocco. Honestly, I would have banished the Kalute because you know this is a fucking Shining Angel. When is the Kalute ever going to do anything here? The Sirocco at least can combo with your value engrave. Oh my goodness. Okay, here comes the Armed Wing attack. That's going to be Shining Angel into Shining Angel. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Go get DD Warrior Lady, my brother in Christ. Go get DD Warrior Lady. You need to kill this Armed Wing. You can't really afford to be crashing like that. Opponent tries to activate the Armed Wing, but it's been negated by value. Sets his Bottomless and then passes. Why would you not set the D-Prison? Why would you not set that? What if he tries to attack you with the Shining Angel? Then what? Are you going to Kalute there? What the fuck, man? Set the D-Prison. That's the whole point here. Anyway, sets the D-Alk, sets the Shining, switches the Shining Angel defense, passes the turn. This is a sus play, but it's pretty much your only play. I don't really like setting the D-Alk, but hey, that's just me. Okay, here comes Black Whirlwind off the top. Again, exercising some patience on summoning into sweepers like he's been doing the entire game, even when he had perfect knowledge that his opponent did not have a sweeper. Armed Wing attacking the new set. Why would you attack at all? Why do you want to give him access to his effects? I don't get it. Are you only attacking here in case it's Raikou? Even if it's Raikou, you want them to flip it so it's in face-up attack position so you can attack it for damage. It just doesn't make any sense. Just don't attack here. There's no reason to do that. Anyway, he gets his Dimensional Alchemist back, just starts the loop going. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have a great way to get this Freed banished unless he summons Soul of Purity and Light, in which case he should probably do that. Just summon the Soul of Purity and Light. Can't attack over it. Like, even if it trades with the back row, good. You're probably fucking happy with that. And then it gets your Freed banished so that you can actually out this Armed Wing. What are you doing? Are you actually going to Torrential your Shining Angel, or are you going to try to get your shit online? I don't get it. Anyway, sets Solemn Judgment, just passes. Doesn't want to set Dialk again for some reason. You wanted to last turn. Why didn't you want to do it this turn? Now, instead of having Dialk in hand and Dialk in banished, and the Dialk in hand he doesn't know about, you just have Dialk in grave and Dialk in hand that he does know about. So you just gave him information for no fucking reason. I don't understand it. Anyway, here comes the attack on the Shining Angel. Special summons out the DD Warrior Lady. This has been a crazy game. This has been a crazy game because it just didn't need to be this long. First off, for a million different reasons. There was like 8 different missed lethals. And then just like a lot of like dirtle play going on where like you could banish the Freed. You could start making something happen. But instead we're just like, we're just not gonna play the game. Both players showed up and they signed an agreement where they wouldn't really do anything until turn 30. Anyway, here comes an accidental discard of Icarus attack, like it wasn't the most obvious shit in the world. And then a pass. Now, because 2 cards were set here, the Typhoon is a 50-50. And you do have Solemn for Icarus attack now, so you don't really need to M-phase try to snipe the Icarus attack. But you could have. You could have. I mean, shit. Eventually he gets DD Warrior Lady here, but yeah, at this point, what are you doing? Just swinging DD Warrior Lady into a D-Prison. And that's exactly what happens. And the DD Warrior Lady gets banished. But because you have this D-Alk, you can now set that and set your Bottomless and just be chilling. So here comes M-phase Icarus attack, targeting the set monster and the back row. Why the fuck would you target the set monster? You know he has D-Alk in hand. Oh my god. And you know he's been setting them. You also know about Soul of Purity and Light. So it's literally, did he top deck his third Shining Angel? Or is he setting the Dialk like he did last turn, which is the most likely? Oh no, all 3 Shining Angels are gone. Bruh, you know it's Dialk. Oh my god, just target the back row and run it over. Holy shit. Or just don't target the back row. Wait till he uses the back row to out your Armed Wing, and then chain Icarus so you get 3 for 2. I don't understand this play at all. You go for a 2-for-1 Icarus attack, but you give your opponent the fucking card advantage off of it when you have infinite other ways to play this card. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's been a game. Anyway, here comes the next value activation. This basically forces Torrential Tribute. And now, free reign to go Black Whirlwind, normal summon Shura. You do have to solemn the normal summon here, or else you die immediately to a bunch of different things. Instead, he goes for Typhoon on the Whirlwind. You're not just dead, but it's bad. Now it's like genuinely bad. You're taking damage. And yeah, if you just solemn the normal summon, it turns your solemn into a 2-for-1. This, however, is just really, really bad. You don't want to summon DD Warrior Lady here. If he has Bottomless Trap Hole, you die. If he has Kalut, you fucking struggle. This is a very, very bad situation to be in. You have to set the DD Warrior Lady, then save your Solemn for the next normal summon. Your Gorz is now a dead card because you had to set Solemn, which is unfortunate. In any case, there's the Bottomless. You're forced to Solemn, and then you die to Kalut, and this is just... What a game. What a game. Some of these games, like, they're so shocking to me because I'm just like, what are you thinking about? Are you just playing like your cards without really thinking like, oh, this is what I should be doing? But like, I don't get it. Like, what do you understand what your deck is trying to do? I don't get it. I don't understand. Do you understand what the cards mean? It's kind of like the cards are like a language. You know, the cards are like they're like they speak to you. You know, they tell you things. When you have Deprison Trap Dust Shoot in your hand, it's telling you that you know exactly what your opponent's going to do and that you can't be attacked. That's what it's telling you. When you have Dark Grepher plus Vayu in your hand, you're saying, I'm going to kill you. I have a 2-turn kill. That's what it's telling you. It's not telling you I have Dark Grepher plus Vayu. It's telling you this game is over in 2 turns. That's literally what it's saying. And if it's not over in 2 turns, at least you have perfect information and you're not losing the next turn. That's pretty much it. So, I don't know. That's questionable. The whole like way we used our Solemn Judgment here, not solemning the Shura that ended up killing us is very silly, when the Whirlwind would have been a completely dead card if his last card was just not another normal summon. And you also had Typhoon for it later if it ever became a problem. Solemning stops the threat and then allows you to establish a threat. Maybe even summon your Soul of Purity and Light, which we never did at any point for no real good reason, honestly. For no real good reason to get that freed banished, get it in circulation for the Dialks. There were cards that were in hand for like way too long. There were cards that were played were for just the worst amount of value. There was information that was ignored. Crazy game 1. Let's see if they pick it up for game 2. That was crazy. That was crazy. Dragon of the West says low life points, lol. My brother in Christ. This game, Dragon of the West decided in my body as a shield. Speaking of low life points, this card is guaranteed to put you at low life points. But he also has some interesting cards. Herald of Orange Light is normally one of the first side outs in this matchup. Unless you see Dark Grepher. If you see Dark Grepher, you generally leave in 1 or 2 copies of Herald of Orange Light. On the other side, we do see Light Mirror, which can be a good card in this matchup, but you need pressure alongside it. It's not good enough on its own. If you have Light Mirror, but you don't have pressure, then the card is basically just a brick. Dragon of the West gets to go first. He finds Book of Moon. He's got Shining Angels. He's got all this other shit. Honestly, you just lead on Thunder King Book. No, we don't lead on Thunder King Book. We just lead on set Shining Angel. Why? Why? Why the fuck would you not lead on Thunder King? Plays around Bottomless. First off, it stops Whirlwind searches. Second off, if they summon Sirocco, you have Book of Moon, you have Honest, you're totally fine. And then next turn, you can just summon your Shining Angel, attack into the sweepers because you have my body as a shield. Why would you not lead on Thunder King? It's just infinitely better to lead on Thunder King. Infinitely better. Infinitely better. Just infinitely better. This card is insane on the first turn summon because it gets around Bottomless, which is the #1 reason why this card is kind of slower in some strategies because it's just like a 1-for-1 with Bottomless. But yeah, no, here comes Black Whirlwind, here comes Sirocco, and like instantly fucking punished for not setting the book, instantly punished for not summoning the Thunder King. Just why? Why? And as you can see, there's a Bottomless in the hand, so when he goes to summon the Thunder King later, you're gonna be forced to use your My Body as a shield. And then you'll have to play into a sweeper or an Icarus later. Improper use, improper opening in every sense of the word. That's why you have Thunder King, so you can summon it turn 1 to stop this shit. That's literally the reason you have it in the deck. It's not doing anything turn 3 when they've already searched 6 times out of Black Whirlwind. Oh, man. Anyway, here comes the Shura search. Here comes set 2 back row. He says, fuck it, you don't have Heavy Storm. Bruh. If I saw someone set nothing, I would not set my whole hand. I would just set the Bottomless or just set the Light Mirror and save the other one. But, yeah, I don't know. It's not gonna matter because Dragonless doesn't have Heavy Storm. Cool Dead Punk is taking a gamble here. Very high-risk gamble, but it's going to pay off because there's no Heavy Storm. Here comes Thunder King. No, it's just flip Shining Angel. Dude, you have my body as a shield. What is the Thunder King doing in your hand? What is it doing in your hand? What is it doing in your hand? I don't get it. What is it doing in your hand? Just summon the guy. If he Icaruses you, you have my body as a shield. 2 for 1 easy. And you have Book of Moon to stop the next normal. Oh my god. Okay. This guy really doesn't want to get his Thunder King Ryle into play. Here comes the Light Mirror. Now, Light Mirror has to happen before the damage step. So you just book the Sirocco. Right? No, I guess you could use the Honest too. Using the Honest means you can save the book for the normal summon. Which is fair. Honest gets used. I do like using the book because Honest is better. And Thunder King's going to stop the search anyway. But I understand using the Honest too because you want to save book in case they have like Bottomless and you don't want to my body. I don't fucking know. Honestly, you should save the Honest here. It's just better. Use the Book of Moon. Have the Thunder King to deal with the Whirlwind. Have my body as a shield to protect your Thunder King. Have Herald of Orange Light to stop any sort of crazy shenanigans like Dark Ref or Dark Arm, that kind of thing. Yeah, no, this is just an improper use of resources. I definitely like saving the Honest here. It makes you less weak to back row removal, like Space Typhoon, Nobleman of Extermination, that kind of thing. No, this is just bad. Using the Book of Moon is for sure better. In any case, takes 1400. Main phase 2 summons the Thunder King. If you were gonna do it anyway, why would you not do it main phase 1? I don't understand. If you were gonna summon it anyway, why would you not summon it in the first place? You're just missing damage. You're just missing board presence. You're just missing everything. Anyway, here comes the My Body as a Shield, because, yeah. Thunder King can no longer negate special summons, because Light Mirror will stop that, but it does stop searches, because it's a continuous effect and non-activated effect. This only negates light monsters' effects that are activated on the field, whereas Thunder King is continuous. And here's a set Book of Moon. Yeah, so this is unnecessary. Like, you don't need this Book of Moon. It would be much better to have this Honest. You're just turning on Space Typhoons for no reason, and you're also making yourself weaker. Like, you're forced to book on a Sirocco here, where you normally wouldn't have. Well, I guess you would have been forced to Honest, so it's kind of the same shit, but you get the idea. Anyway, here comes Shura. Try to activate Whirlwind. Misplay. Huge misplay. You have Dark Greffer. You have Vayu. You should summon Greffer. You should pitch the Vayu. You should summon Armed Wing. The Armed Wing's going to at least force the book, but you'll have Greffer in play, and you'll save the Shura for later. Anyway, here comes the Book of Moon on the Shura, which you're forced to do anyway. I don't like this Book of Moon here. I think you just let it resolve. What's he going to do? Grab a Vayu? Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty bad. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Would have been much better to have the Honest. It's the same thing either way, but yeah, I don't know. Same thing either way. It ended up not mattering, but you would have been worse off to the whatever, and you also would have an open board here, so you end up dealing more damage. So because you didn't use the Book of Moon first, you end up getting, I think, 1400 more points of damage over the course of the 2 turns. Anyway, here comes Summon Herald of Orange Light. This is a play that I'm kind of curious about. I'm not sure if this is good or bad, but it's interesting to say the least. You found Bottomless, so you're pretty much never losing this game regardless. Here comes Goyo Guardian to steal the Shura, which is interesting. Yeah, it's just giving them another Shura target if they have a second Shura. But you have Bottomless, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, 1900 attack, sets the Bottomless. The position for the Fairy player is fantastic. Obviously, a few errors in the opening, but once you have a couple summon stops and you have a Thunder King and a Goyo in play, it's pretty fucking hard for the Blackwing player to ever really mount any sort of counter offense. Here comes Greffer, pitch, special summon the guy. That's going to get Bottomless, and then it's going to be all she wrote, pretty much. Attacks over the Shura, passes the turn. Here comes Dialk. Both your monsters in hand are pretty bad. They don't really accomplish much, but you still summon one because you got to deal damage somehow. Takes the Dark Grepher. Makes you think if you had made Bryonic instead of Yugioh, if that would have been better. Because you're losing... maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say for sure. Yeah, it's tough. Yugioh steals a Grepher. Nova and Thunder King attack directly. Puts the opponent to 300. Now this does take brain control off the table. But you are susceptible to Blizzy here. Blizzy bring back Shura. All of a sudden, we have a fucking problem. Because they can Bryonic, bounce your Yugioh, and they have the best monster in play. So, you have a problem. They're going to summon Blizzy. They're going to bring back Shura. Honestly, you should allure first. You should allure away this Kalut. Try to get perfect information on what you're discarding. Maybe you find another Vayu or a Sirocco that you can pitch to the Bryonic and clear 2 threats this turn. Instead, we're going to misplay. We're going to make Armed Wing, which doesn't make any fucking sense. You definitely make Bryonic. Because what if they drop Book of Moon? Bruh, you have to clear the Yugioh Guardian this turn. I don't like this play. I don't like this play at all. Anyway. Pickup is a Nova Summoner. It's not really going to do much. Here comes the Yugioh Guardian attack. Now your Allure is just a dead card too. Yeah, I don't love this. It's not great. But I do like Dragon of the West play. Switch the Grepher to attack. Recognize that Armed Wing deals more damage running over these guys in defense. That Kalut usage made your top deck Dark Arm dead. Kappa. But that's something you would have drawn off of Allure last turn too. Another reason to activate Allure is that you would have had a Dark Arm play last turn instead of whatever you did. So, yeah. No reason not to play this card. You're just... Yeah, let's see if he plays it now. Yep, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Players saving their cards for the next game. The 24-year-old conserver. You know? Thunder King's gone. Now he can search. Special Summon Gale. Have Synchro. Armor Master. Run over both monsters. Light Mirror is a beating when you do have pressure. It's just the way it goes. But, would you look at that? 4 Fairies in grave. Monster's kind of weak. And we're going to see the first Christie of the game. Steal it. Okay, game 3. Game 3, that was a messy one too. Wasn't as messy as game 1, but it was messy. Not summoning Thunder King on the first turn of the game was crazy bad. Crazy, crazy bad. Anyway, we've got Christia Shining Angel, which is a great card to have in your opening hand. But we've got Deep Prison to help interact with the Shining Angel. So, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Also, we've got Black Whirlwind yet again. So we're going to go Whirlwind Shura. No. What the fuck are you doing? Whirlwind Shura. Go Whirlwind Shura. Bro. This is so insane. This is a +1. This is not a +1. You didn't do this first turn of the game 1. Why are you doing it game 3? Now you don't have Trap Dust Shoot to know if they have a sweeper. Go for Shura Whirlwind. Get your +1. Set up for your Blizzy. When the resources are low, you can go for the Grepher kills. But set up your Shura Whirlwind. Set up your Whirlwind. Get your searches. Get your search chain going. It's a +1 this turn. It's a +1 next turn if your opponent has no back row. This is just not... This doesn't do anything. He's just going to crash his Shining Angel Special Christia, and you're just going to be in a bad spot. And now any back row interrupts your Whirlwind and makes it a -1. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the best start in the game. This is the second best start in the game. If you're going first, almost always get your Whirlwind Search. Almost always. I will say in some matchups, again, too, the first turn of the game, he had a Vayu in hand and a Sirocco in hand. So he could activate his Grepher turn 1, turn 2. And it would be great. This game, you don't really have that unless you're summoning Shura searching Vayu, which is a meme. I don't get that. And that means your normal summon has to resolve. In which case, just do it next turn. Oh my god. It doesn't make any sense. Here comes Mystical Space Typhoon. Here comes turn 1 Christia. Now, if I'm Dragon of the West, I am grabbing Honest here on my last activation, not Shining Angel. The reason being, you cannot activate Shining Angel under Archlord Christia. However, you can activate Honest, even if they book your Christia. So, what you should do is you should grab Honest, crash with Dark Grepher, whatever. Alas, I do understand putting Consecrated Light in play. It makes sense. But, personally, Personally, I just grab the Honest. Personally, because you already have Christia. What can they do under Christia, Book, Mirror Force? What can they do? What can they do? I get grabbing Consecrated. This is a card that I personally don't side that frequently, just because it just like exacerbates your weakness to deck dev. But once it's in play, it's pretty fucking insane versus these decks. They only have a couple of outs, which is like set monster Icarus attack, set monster deck dev, or hope to maybe put together a flip summon combo, which is just hilarious. And then they also have like maybe Cyber Dragon that they boarded in. But Consecrated is going to be very good here because, again, he didn't Shura Whirlwind on the first turn. And he also didn't activate his Vayu for no reason. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, here we are. So here comes Consecrated. Now the Vayu's dead, the Shura's dead, the Blizzy's dead, the Black Whirlwind's dead. Entire hand's shut off. Christia's getting special summoned, grabbing back Shining Angel. Set Mirror Force, set Book of Moon, and that's going to be game. There's just no place. Crazy match. Crazy match. Definitely not played the best here. Definitely not played the best. If you had activated the Whirlwind, maybe they're not prisoning your Typhoon. Maybe they're prisoning your Whirlwind. Maybe they're not crashing their Recruiter into your Shura. Fucking insane, man. Insane. Okay, if you're not activating the Whirlwind, what? You're playing around. You're playing around. What is that? I'm losing my train of thought. You're playing around Heavy Storm. You're playing around Heavy Storm. But if they have Heavy Storm, like regardless, you're losing because Heavy Storm Crash Recruiter into Christia just beats you anyway. Or even Heavy Storm Crash Recruiter into just Consecrated beats you anyway. They don't even need the Christia. Cool Dead Punk says crazy opening, which is the most frustrating thing in existence because you had Black Whirlwind Shura, which is literally the best opening in your deck, and you didn't play it. And also, game 1, you had an OTK 7 turns in a row and you didn't play it. Crazy opening. Bro, are you talking about yourself? Or are you talking about the fact that you, whatever. Yeah, and also, Dragon of the West, very smart play here. Not banishing the Dark Refer. You got to recognize this card's not doing anything, so yeah, you just leave it there. You can run it over with Christia, keep your DD Warrior Lady around. And yeah, that's just going to be the game. I mean, he's up fucking 7 cards to 0, so that's pretty much it. Christia attacks, DD Warrior Lady attacks directly. I don't understand why you would set Greffer ever and not one of these guys, because if you find Book or something, or Mirror Force or something, or Torrential or something, or Icarus or something, you could maybe fucking put together a Blizzard play, but hey, that's just the way it goes. Set Solemn Judgment, obviously not going to do anything at this point. Just attack with both. There's really no reason not to. If he Mirror Forces, you still have Consecrated. You have Breaker and shit too. You don't need to play into Torrential, even though this deck never plays Torrential, so you should just summon the Breaker and pop the back row to play around Mirror Force. But, you know, hey. Oh, wait, you can't summon the Breaker because it's a Dark. Yeah, Breaker, Consecrated, not a combo. I generally don't side these cards together for obvious reasons, but Breaker is still great because it outs Light Mirror. So if they do out the Consecrated, you can out their back row. Yeah, you can't summon it. My bad. I totally forgot that for a second. Generally speaking, I don't side these cards together. Anyway, there goes the value. 2800 direct is game. And he says GG's. Crazy match. Crazy match. Absolutely ripped from the jaws of defeat. But definitely starting on Black Whirlwind Shura would have been much better there for Cool Dead Punk. If you guys watch these replays, if you guys watch me analyze these matches, I apologize if I'm a little bit rude, but just like Jesus fucking Christ. This is why we analyze things. This is why we watch matches in hindsight, so we can see what we did wrong. All right, the next replay. The next replay is actually a really cool one. It's from users in the Discord, Simply and Zool. This is a matchup between Lightsworn and Diva Hero. There's a really cool ruling that actually comes up in this match that the players didn't know, and it actually decides the winner of the match. So I'm really excited to show you guys this replay. It's a really cool ruling that not a lot of people know. I even had to double check it with the judge just to make sure it was correct. All right, Zool wins the die rolls. With Lightsworn, hell yeah. Set Hamster Pass. I do like saving charge. I'm a big charge consumer myself. I do like setting Hamster. You don't want to mill all your Raikos with your charge, etc. However, if I'm Zool, I am strongly considering playing this Cold Wave here. Strongly considering it. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't use it, but you're going to have an awkward turn where you can't charge and Cold Wave in the same turn in the future. So, something to keep in mind. Anyway, here comes Stratos. This is perfect for Zool. Zool's going to be able to special summon Raiko from his deck. No, just kidding. Here comes a very aggressive Greffer line. Pitch Mally, Send Plague, Send Necrogardener. No. No synchro. Why? Why would you do all this and then not synchro? Someone want to explain that to me? Why would you not make Stardust Dragon? Someone want to explain that to me? I don't get it. Oh, I guess you want to wait to stack your Gilman so you can get the Diva Gilman. Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, no, I get it. I get it now. You want to wait till next turn to stack your Gilman. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Simply thinking ahead a little bit. I like it. Grepher going to attack the set monster. 100 damage is going to get dealt. Here comes the Raikou. You have to attack the Raikou. You have to attack it. No back row. It could be Christiasworn. It could be Lightsworn. You need to run over the Raikou so no Celestia shenanigans are happening. Mills 3 confirms your suspicions. It is indeed either Christiasworn or Lightsworn. Trap Dust Shoot usually means Lightsworn. Now, I don't think there's really much reason to play pure Lightsworn over Christiasworn other than, like, just card availability. But some people like it. I think Christiasworn completely overshadows these types of builds. You do get to play stuff like Trap Dust Shoot, Dark Armed, Chaos Sorcerer, that kind of thing, which are decent cards, but they're nowhere near the same power level as Herald of Orange Light and Archler Christia. And Archler Christia is just, like, it's so good. It's so good. Sacrificing that to play stuff like Trap Dust Shoot, it's like, you're sacrificing a card that's always going to be insane for you if you draw it versus a card that's sometimes going to be insane for you if you draw it. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, passes a turn. Here comes Gold Sark. Pretty shitty top deck, but it's going to be activated. And here comes Charge of Light Brigade. Does he hit a wolf? He does. Very nicely sacked. Very nicely sacked, I should say. Now, the wolf's going to come back. If I'm Zool, this is how I'm playing this game. I'm summoning Jane. Or I'm summoning nothing. Switching the hamster to attack, attacking with both, and then, yeah, passing the turn. Now, you could sack for Celestia, pop the Shadows, mill 4 cards, try to set up for your JD, but your JD's already live. You already have 4 names, so you don't need to worry about that. Jane is just more damage, and it means that if he can only summon 1 Synchro Monster next turn, he can't clear both your Lightsworn names, and then you can still Celestia if you need to. So, I like summoning the Jane here. Let's see what he does. He likes the same play. I like this. I think this is a good play. But I do also like switching the hamster to attack. His 1800 shit is gone. Get that extra damage in. You're going to need it for that OTK later on. Here comes the Jane attack. You're just missing damage here. There's really no reason not to switch the hamster to attack, in my opinion. And Phase Mills 2 hits a Necrogardener. Very nice. Again, 1100 damage. Pretty big here. Because the difference between 4400 and 5500 can be JD plus a normal summon. I'm just saying. That's all it is. Anyway, here comes Plague. Stack the Gilman. Exactly what we had talked about. Weird choice here going Caius on the Jane. This is a very weird choice in my opinion. Because Wolf is the 4th name already. So Caius on the Jane does nothing. I think this is quite bad. I think what you need to do is you need to go Stardust Catastor. I think that's the plan. So you go stack for Plague, summon Diva, grab Gilman, make Catastor, Mally, make Stardust. You have Necrogardener protect the Stardust, so JD cannot be a problem for you. He would need double JD to make anything happen. And then you also get to clear both Lightsworn names in play so that Celestia is not a problem as well. Obviously, they have Necrogardener, but at least it would force it. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, here comes Caius attacking the Wolf. No Honest gets used. Zool's just going to let that happen. Preserve the Necrogardener to protect his JD from something like Catastor happening. And now simply stacked his Gilman, but didn't make any use of it. So he's just going to draw Gilman next turn. Unlucky, honestly. Anyway, here comes JD. Right? Are we going Bryonic JD? What's the plan? What's the plan here? Yugioh Guardian JD is pretty good. What's the plan? What are we doing here? I don't know what the plan is here. Either way, you should Cold Wave to play around Miracle Fusion. Yep, he does it. Very smart play from Zool. Here comes that JD. Does the JD activate? Or are we going for Yugioh? I like Yugioh a little bit better because it forces the Necrogardener regardless, and you don't have to pay 1,000 life points. And you get to end with a Yugioh Guardian, and a Caius, and a JD, and you get a mill 4. And you have Gores in case things go south. No, he just activates. Yeah, this is worse. This is definitely worse. You're just going... No, yeah, this is definitely worse. Again, summon the Plague, attack directly. No, no Plague summon, okay. Attacks for 3,000. And phase mills 4. Now, Simply can win the game here, I believe. How many warriors are in the grave? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no, he can't because Necrogarna is there. Yeah, that Necrogarna's a bastard. He's a little bastard. 5 warriors in the grave. But yeah, the Necrogarna makes this a pain in the ass. You can't go for Colossal Arm because he has Necrogarna to stop it. Dang, that would have been close. That would have been a close Colossal Arm. That being said, I think Zul could have had a much better ending position here with Goyo, Caius, JD, and a forced Necrogarna. So I think that's that. And then honestly, Simply could have had Catastor here on this turn. So Catastor Stardust plus getting the Gilman out of the deck with a fresh draw and the Mali out of the deck as well. And he would have had Caius in hand. He could sack his Stardust for Caius, banish the JD. Yeah, no, this was played really messy from Simply, I think, in my opinion. In any case, you're basically forced to go for... Well, you can't Black Rose now because the Gilman's in the hand. What can you even do? You have to go Dark End Armory Arm. That's the only way to play this turn. Go Special Evil Hero guy, Evil guy. Summon out Malicious guy. Deep Sea Diva. Yeah, you go Dark End, blow up the JD. Armory Arm, attack with both. Either that or you just hold the Evil guy. This is bad. Yeah, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't like this play so much. Yeah, I would have made Dark End to just pop the JD. Like, sure, he can Monster Reincarnation back, but 2 of them are already gone. I guess you know he's getting JD next turn anyway, so you have to do it this way. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're at 2,500. You have to do it this way because he's getting JD next turn. Never mind. Never mind. It has to be this. Has to be this or you're just dead. Yeah. Yeah. Has to be this or you're just dead. Wolf the draw. Pretty awkward. If you had Goyo plus Caius here, could you have done anything differently? You could stack for Plague, make Dark End, pop the Stardust, and then do that if you extra deck Dark End. I'm not sure if Lightsworn extra decks Dark End. Alternatively, you could stack for Plague, make... Shit, I don't fucking know. Are there any 8 stars that do it? Well, I guess there's no 8 stars that do it, but you could stack for Plague, sack for Celestia, and then... Now, that doesn't make Wyvern, because Wyvern is needs a light tuner. That's a predicament. I don't know if Lightsworn extra decks Dark End like that. I don't know if there's anything they could go into, because they don't have a light 6. Yeah. Anyway, it's just JD activates special JD. You trade your JD with the Armory Arm. Pretty much. You make the Stardust weak. You force the Necro. Set Plague, end phase mill 4. You get a Wolf. You should special summon it in defense because he has a fucking Stardust Dragon. So, obviously, he can just run it over and you're just taking unnecessary damage. So, you should definitely special summon in defense. JD attacks. Forced Wind Blast on the JD, but that's just... You're just in a bad spot. Doesn't set the Raikou. I like that play, not setting the Raikou, because you don't want to mill that JD. Here comes set back row. Attack the Plague. Top deck JD. Is Heavy Storm still in the deck? I don't know. I don't know if it is. Anyway, the opponent's at 2,500. So you just special the JD. Torrential gets played, and now you just pass because you have Gores. So you just pass, right? That's what happens. Let's see. Yep, just a pass. Here comes Miracle Fusion. Banish, banish. Special summon Absolute Zero. Now, Zul's very low on threats. But he does have Gores now to trade with the Absolute Zero. So he's going to do that. Gores, get the token. Take a billion or whatever. Oh, I don't like this play. Yeah, I don't like this play at all. I don't like set Hamster here. This is a bad play. So what I would do if I was Zul is I would attack Gores into absolute zero, clear it, then maybe set the hamster or set the Raikou with the hopes of next turn stacking for Plague. Yeah, probably set Raikou. Next turn, stack for Plague, stack the Wolf, mill it with Raikou to pop their back row, and then you can summon Super Nimble Mega, make like Stardust or something, and go for game. That's the game plan, and hope they top deck a back row or something like an absolute zero again. And then you can top deck, go for Goyo Guardian, go for game. Yeah, no, this is a misplay. Setting the hamster is a misplay. You have to Gores attack the absolute zero. Top deck is a Snowman Eater, and now he turtles up, and now it's bad because the hamster's in play, and you have to commit further into this absolute zero, which you've already lost. Now, this is the ruling that I was talking about. It's coming up right here. Plague gets activated. Raikou gets normal summoned. This gets synchroed into Armory Arm. And now, this is an interesting moment, too, because, well, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that is going on. But let's just talk about this ruling. There were a bunch of different ways this could have played out. There are a bunch of different ways Zool probably should have played this differently. The Plague could have made Bryonic with Hamster to bounce the set monster that he top decked. Basically, if you save Mega Hamster Plague, you're never losing the game as long as you trade the Gores with the absolute zero, which is what he should have done. In any case, he goes for Armory Arm equip onto Gores and simply admits defeat. Now, this is actually not game. And the reason it's not game is because absolute zero is mandatory and Armory Arm effect to burn is mandatory. However, because Armory Arm, when it's equipped to Gores, is not an effect monster, it's an equip spell, it needs to be face up to resolve. And since Simply is not the turn player, his mandatory effect will be Chain Link 2. So since absolute zero will activate and be Chain Link 2 to Armory Arm's effect that activates, and it will resolve before Armory Arm, and Armory Arm will not be in play, Armory Arm will not be resolved because it's an equip spell, and equip spells need to be face up in play in order to activate and in order to resolve. So crazy that he conceded there because it was not actually game at all. In fact, it was much better for him. It was a completely stable position for Simply. So this crazy ruling, this interaction where Armory Arm being treated as an equip spell here in this instance, just how it works, is going to change everything. Now, had Simply been the turn player, let's say Simply's absolute zero's in attack, and Zool has Gores with Armory Arm equipped, and Simply attacks his absolute zero into Gores, Simply's absolute zero would be Chain Link 1, the Armory Arm effect to burn would be Chain Link 2, it would resolve, it would kill Simply, the game would end. But since Simply's not the turn player, and Zool's attacking with the Armory Arm on the Gores over the absolute zero, and the nature of that whole thing. Crazy ruling. And this does come up. Armory Arm over absolute zero does come up. This is a ruling that you should know. I think the hero deck is popular enough. Armory Arm is popular enough. These are cards that you should know how they work, basically. Okay, next game. All right, we've got Zool going second because Simply did concede, thinking that he lost that one. Allure of Darkness, going to banish Gores. Now, this is a crazy banish. I think you always banish Dark Armed here. You have no Darks. Also, Gores is insane versus Lightsworn. So I think you always banish Dark Armed. Just always. Doesn't make any sense. Sure, maybe you want to set your back row. Okay, I understand that. But what are you doing? Setting Torrential behind a Catastor? That doesn't make any sense. Are you setting Space Typhoon when you know they have Lila Raikou out the ass? Are you setting Mirror Force when you know they have Lila Raikou out the ass, Celestia, all that shit? No. You're not setting any of these cards, except maybe Torrential turn 1. So maybe your turn is set Torrential pass, and you hold Gores, you hold Diva. Your Dark Armed is banished. Your opponent summons one monster, you Torrential it. They mill a Wolf, they attack you, you drop Gores. All of a sudden, you're just crushing. Then you have Mirror Force to back up your Gores. You have Catastor, etc., to play through Honest. It's very good for you. Whereas Dark Arm's just doing fuck all right now. Maybe he's playing for the long game. Maybe he's thinking Catastor will be the first Dark. Whatever. Anyway, here comes the Synchro. Makes Catastor, sets Mirror Force. Nobody's attacking your Catastor, my guy. Nobody is attacking your Catastor. There's no reason to set Mirror Force here. There's no reason to set it. You're just giving them Lila targets. If anything, you set Space Typhoon to bait Lila. In any case, here comes Hamster. It's going to be set Hamster pass. There's another Deep Sea Diva. Even more Darks away from where you need to be. Miracle Fusion's not live. Dark Arm's not live. The Mirror Force is in an awkward spot, being set here behind the Cataster. Attacks the Hamster, that's going to grab Raikou. Again, making it very awkward that you set Mirror Force and not, like, I don't know, any of these other cards. Sets Torrential. There's Monster Reincarnation. Now, if you're Zool, you can just set your other Raikou and pass. Or you can flip Raikou, pop the back row, pass. Yeah, I'm going after back row here. I'm going after back row to try and hit road. Anyway, Raikou's going to pop the Cataster. Mills 3, sacks for Celestia. Mills 4 for cost. And again, made you look silly for setting the Mirror Force. Never really need to set it until your opponent has the resolve threat. Hits a Wolf. Wolf's going to come into play. This is just going to be a big crush. Monster Reincarnation on Gores doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. You don't really need to do that, but it does put the 4th name down. You can special summon JD now. No special summon of JD. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's no heroes in the graveyard. You don't really need this Gores at all whatsoever. It's better to save the Aaron. If you're not going to summon JD here, it's better to save the Monster Reincarnation if you're not going to summon JD here. I think you summon JD. I think you put the clock on him. You say, okay, I have an active JD. You had no back row to interact with it. I got it resolved through the back row. I've dealt you 5,100 damage. I know you don't have Gores. I mill 4 this turn, maybe hit a Necro Gardener. You can't attack into it, right? Next turn, I JD activate its game because I dealt 5,000. So you basically force him. You have 1 turn to answer this resolved JD. Otherwise, you lose the game. And he has no hero for Miracle. So, honestly, huge misplay not summoning JD here. Huge misplay. Rhoda going to activate. Now, he would have found the hero, of course, and that would have been unfortunate. But you still have Gores. You still have Plague. You still have a lot of other ways to play this game. You have Raikou. You know what I mean? Like, you still have a lot of sauce. You still have a lot of things going on. And then it also turns all your further top deck monster reincarnations into a game shot. So, yeah, just dealing that 3,000 is really good for you. Whereas now, if you summon this JD and you trade with the Absolute Zero or whatever the fuck you do, it's just not going to deal that 3,000. So you just miss damage, basically. Yep, just miss damage. Here comes Absolute Zero. No attack. That doesn't make any sense. If he has Honest, you force it. Here comes Solar Recharge. I don't like activating this Solar Recharge. I like setting the Raikou. Again, I think Raikou is just better here. Either that or you're looking at like maybe a Plague Bryonic play. That Space Typhoon is a nice bluff, but yeah, just look at the situation. Now you can never summon this JD. You could have had it last turn. It could have traded with the Absolute Zero, and then this turn you could have been like recharging into a lethal threat, basically. And there's that Necro Gardener. Would have milled it off the JD. Just saying. Just saying you would have milled it. Just saying you would have milled it. Anyway. Here comes milling some spells, Heavy Storm and Gold Sark, neither of which really matter at this point. Well, Gold Sark would have been okay to search for the JD. Also, Gores is like one of the worst things to reincarnation for because then your opponent knows about it. They're never going to play into it. It's just never going to happen. Just passes the turn. This Wolf should have not been in play to begin with. I dislike passing the turn here. I think you go Plague, Bryonic, pitch Necro Gardener, bounce the Absolute Zero. If the back row does anything, you just summon JD and repeat. But alas, here we are. He's now dying with this JD in hand, which is quite funny. Sets Evil Guy, terrible play. You should always hold this so you can Evil Guy Caius to respond to a Resolved Judgment Dragon. Very, very bad play here. But, you know, whatever. Here comes JD. JD's going to nuke after setting the Necrogarna. Now, I don't like setting the Necrogarna here at all. I like summoning the Arcus after the JD. He knows about Gores. He's not going to attack you directly. Just deal some damage, guy. Just deal some damage. Just deal some damage. Just summon the Arcus. Anyway, here comes the explosion. And now you're probably kicking yourself for not having that Evil Guy. It would have helped you burst out some of this stuff. You do have 2 Darks, but these Caiuses are stuck in your hand unless you can Diva into Diva, which is what happens. And hope to protect both. Here comes Cold Wave, but this is pointless. It's going to be Arcus, attack over the Diva. And this is quite funny because Arcus can't be Caiused, but he does find Dark Refer. That's going to send Necro, special summons Dark Arms. Synchros off into Yugioh Guardian. I probably wouldn't have synchroed here, but hey, you do you. And this plays around Gores. This was an expertly played game, Kappa, in a lot of different senses. That's going to kill the Arcus. Main phase, he finds Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial plus Plague can make something happen. So you can Foolish Wolf, special summon that. Normal summon Plague. Make Bryonic. Bryonic bounce the Yugioh Guardian. Stack Gores for Plague. No. No, I don't believe it. What are you doing? Stack Gores for Plague. Make Colossal Fighter. Run over the Dark Arm Dragon. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He just lets him untap with the Dark Arm Dragon in play. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Here's the Gores. This is going to force more activations, but yeah, that Dark Arm should not be here. Charge the Light Brigade, not going to do anything. And we're going to go to game 2, or game 3. So Zul not only punting game 1 with the Armory Arm play and not using his Gores to trade with the Absolute Zero, but also punting game 2 by not summoning a live Judgment Dragon and getting in 3,000 points of damage and just min-maxing on his cards, basically. Yeah, got to understand your position with Lightsworn. A lot of people don't understand. This deck is hard to play. It is genuinely hard to play. Even when you have good hands, if your opponent has like some pieces of interaction, navigating those and establishing a position where you can actually win the game, it's tough. Anyway, Simply has an insane hand, but Zul's hand is the nuts. So let's see if Zul can piece this together. Doesn't Solar Recharge away the Celestia. This is a misplay, I think. I think it's a misplay. Because if your hamster doesn't resolve, you're going to want a Solar Recharge anyway. So you might as well do it turn 1, I think. Find your Gold Sarks. Seeing Gold Sark early matters a lot. I don't think you really care about Celestia. If they're attacking your hamster, it's going to be like with Stratos. You're going to get your Raikou. You'll be able to normal summon another monster on your next turn, which is like totally fine. You're going to find another normal summon. Lightsworn plays like 17. So you're not going to not find another normal summon. I think you just recharge. He's also playing Trap Dust Shoot. So between Trap Dust Shoot and 2 Gold Sarks, you definitely want to play your draw spell here. No reason not to. This is going to make Stardust, I believe. Yes, I believe. Or Dark End. Dark End is okay too. I kind of prefer Stardust, but they would get to mill with Raikou at the very least if you make Stardust. But I do like Stardust because it protects your Future Fusion and your Wind Blast. And also Stardust is harder to attack over just because its attack points are a little bit less. You could also make an argument for Caius just to keep the Raikou name out of the grave if you predict Raikou, but yeah. Dark End's also pretty bad if it's Plague or Necrogardna. You're gonna feel pretty bad you didn't make Stardust there, but whatever. I think making Stardust here is definitely infinitely better. Anyway. No attacks. Oh, he is going to attack. He's going to play into Gores. I guess it's alright because you get Absolute Zero in 2 turns. Sure, fuck it, attack. Fuck it, they don't have Gores, right? And there you pick up another Celestia, infinitely punished for not recharging turn 1. Anyway, here comes a recharge. Rug would have been found. Yet another reason to recharge on turn 1. Yet another card you want to have set. There's a Lila and Phase Mills 2. Even more copies of Rug. So at least 5 cards you would have wanted to have in your opening hand between 2 Gold Sarks, Trap Dust Shoot, and 2 copies of Pulling the Rug. So many reasons you'd want to recharge there. So many reasons. Anyway, Lila's going to get summoned. We're going to see Lila activate target Future Fusion. This is going to get chained with the Wind Blast. Now this is tough. This is tough because that's really kind of your only play this turn, I believe. Yeah. It's really your only play this turn. But it did trade with the back row, which is good for you, and you can be all right about it. Set Rug, pass the turn. Now, if I'm simply, I'm just going for the OTK here, which is exactly what's going to happen. No. What? You saw Pulling the Rug in the graveyard, yet you chose to summon Caius, the Shadow Monarch. Bro, what are you doing? At least stack for Plague first. Dude, this isn't even game even if it resolves. What are you doing? Leave the Dark End. Summon the Greffer. Stack for Plague. Make Goyo. Go for game. Bro, what are you doing? If he has Mirror Force, you're still getting a 0 next turn. Dude, what are you doing? No, don't do this. Oh no, don't misplay. You're so sexy. 2,500 damage. Not lethal. Lila now gonna break the Future Fusion. Oh man, brutal. Terrible mills, honestly. Hasn't hit a single name, but can you really complain? Your opponent punted lethal. Here comes Plague. Here comes Goyo. Plague attacks over, and this is just gonna be game. But yeah, crazy match. Crazy match. That Armory Arm ruling almost decided it. Almost decided it. Not activating recharge early on definitely Made some stuff happen. In any case, good games between Simply and Zool. Very fun one to watch. I do think the Miracle Fusion deck has a pretty good time against Lightsworn, just because Absolute Zero does a great job versus Judgment Dragon. And the last replay I want to show you guys is Ghost Rider versus the Sows. The Sows, I've never seen him play, but I've seen Ghost Rider play quite a bit. The Sows is playing the Sows, if you ask me. He's playing Goblin Zombie plus Flamvells. This is a cool deck. I actually think they have a lot of inherent synergy. Goblin Zombie likes to be synchroed with, and Flamvell Magician likes to synchro with Goblin Zombie into Dark End, which is something you can't normally do in the Flamvell deck unless you're playing Gravekeeper Spy. But I think it's a little bit cooler to synchro with the Goblin Zombie than it is to synchro with the Gravekeeper Spy. Maybe that's just me. That's just what I think. It looks like Ghost Rider is playing Diva Hero Beat with main deck Royal Oppression, which is a little bit sus, but hey, do what you do you. You do you, you know? Charge of the Light Brigade, gonna mill a Flamvell Magician and a Mizuki. The Sows is soused up. He did hit Heavy Storm, which sucks, but he has a couple of Raikos to help play through back row. Now, if I'm the Sows, you know who I'm setting. I'm setting the Goblin. Let's see if he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Okay, so that's just a misplay. You should set the Goblin here. Always. Charge for Raiko, set the Goblin. They're going to play into your Raiko. Not expect the Goblin. Goblin's going to set up for your Mizuki plus Rekindling play next turn. And then you have Fire Dog plus you still have Raiko to deal with back rows and shit. You definitely don't want to set Raiko until your opponent has back rows, basically. Anyway, here comes Diva into Diva. Going to attack. Exactly the problem. Exactly the problem. Raiko trading for one Diva, you're pretty unhappy about this. Mills another Flamvell guy, and Mills Goblin Zombie. So, perfect Mills. Can't really complain about these Mills at all. But there's a ton of back row to play through now. No, just one back row. Okay, Trap Dust Shoot is going to see that this hand's pretty fucking good. It's got to take Fire Dog. Fire Dog running over Diva would be a crush here. And yeah, if you're the Saws, you just set Raiko, set Wind Blast, and say, I'm going to beat you. This is okay, too. This is okay. This is not... I don't know. This is okay. Wind Blast is discarding Gores no matter what, but I would not like to mill a hero if that's what he's playing, or mill a zombie if that's what he's playing, because then you just set up for Book of Life. Luckily, he's a god and just mills Miracle, but that Miracle would have been dead anyway, and now he's one card closer to Future Fusion. Yeah, I probably would have just set Wind Blast, set Raiko. I think that's the obvious play. Raiko could pop the back row. Next turn, you could go for the big Rekindling plus Mizuki shenanigans and then make an OTK happen. Goblin Zombie kind of acting like Phantom Skyblaster to a degree once Mizuki's already in the grave. Future Fusion's going to activate. Going to reveal Absolute Zero. Send some guys. Here comes other guy. Here comes big Miracle guy. Not setting the Wind Blast just doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? Do we understand why he didn't set the Wind Blast? Like, do you really want to get value out of the scores? Really? Is it that important? Or can you just OTK him by clearing the back row? Like, does it matter that much? Anyway. Goblin Zombie's going to search, probably for Zombie Master. Yep. And then Gilman's going to attack for 17. You have to drop Gores. Gores is going to be able to trade with the Absolute Zero. But now your situation's a little bit annoying. Because you just end up set Raiko, set Wind Blast anyway. So, back to where what the fuck is this? Why do players not want to clear Absolute Zero when they have the opportunity to do it? Just attack. If you eat the back row, fucking good. You have Raiko Phoenix Wing. Raiko also kills the Absolute Zero. Phoenix Wing also kills the Absolute Zero. Just attack. Bait the back row. You need to clear these back row in order to play this game. You can't give him time to get to his second Absolute Zero. Anyway, set Raiko, set Wind Blast, pass. Here comes Zero attacking the Raiko. Raiko's popping back row. Alright. I kind of get it. Kind of don't. I'd probably go after... Yeah, probably the back row. Yeah. Mills 3. Mills another Rekindling. Mills Dark Arm. That kind of sucks, but whatever. Your grave's already stacked. Passes the turn. Okay. So now, you have Wind Blast for the last back row. So you're going to Wind Blast. You're going to pitch Zombie Master. Target the back row. Then you can Mizuki back Zombie Master. Zombie Master pitch Raiko, bring out Goblin Zombie. Make Stardust, Thought Ruler, whatever. Just run over all this shit, right? And then you have Solemn. I think that's the plan. No. We're just going to continue to pass. Give him the second Absolute Zero, which you also cannot out. Which you're also not swinging the Gores. My brother, guys, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Play into the fucking back row. Clear the Absolute Zero. Use your Gores. Your Gorz is doing nothing in defense position here. Now, you're going to pop the absolute zero. You're going to 2-for-1 yourself. You're going to fucking 2-for-1 yourself. He should get the second absolute zero here. I think they forgot. Yeah, I think they forgot. No, that's the next turn. It's the next turn. Okay, absolute zero attacks that monster. I forgot. This is going to pop the back row, but then there's a new back row. Yeah. Yeah, I should have swung the Gorz in the absolute zero first. Now it's just going to be tough. But I guess you have Wind Blast. You have Book of Life. Now he decides to swing. Should have just done it in the first place, man. Instead, you were put into this awkward position. Here comes Rekindling. And now you're Rekindling main 2, which is just so cringe. Stardust, and I don't know why Ghost Rider conceded, but I'm sure he saw the writing on the wall. I don't know why he conceded. He's getting a second absolute zero. I guess if he attacks and there's like a Mirror Force. I don't know why he conceded. Huh. What is it? Dark End Stardust? It has to be Dark End Stardust then. But he synchroed with the wrong monster to make Stardust. He synchroed with Goblin Zombie. You have to synchro with Goblin Zombie into Dark End and synchro with the Fire Dog into Stardust. That's the only way it's okay, because then he has Wind Blast for the second zero that's coming out. And the Stardust can negate that too. No, that was just a choke. That was just a choke from the Saws. But Ghost Rider conceded anyway. Crazy. Premature concession and a choke. Awesome stuff. Alright. Here comes Rhoda. Here comes Stratos. Best start in the game. Grabs Voltic. Cool tech. Upstart Goblin. I don't know. Some people like it in this deck. Some people don't. I think it's okay. Once you thin your deck out of the heroes, you can draw some high impact back row. But I think it's only okay. Anyway, here comes Set Hamster, Set Bottomless Pass. Royal Oppression, honestly, pretty mid against like Raikou strategies. You'd rather have something like Skill Drain in a deck like this. Sets the Typhoon as well. Here comes another Upstart. That's going to find Dust Shoot. Turn too late, though. Upstart does help you find Dust Shoot a little bit earlier, but yeah, the Saws is also at 10,000. It's going to be a long game. Here comes a Bottomless. I would have never Bottomless there. I would have never Bottomless that. That was a ballsy play from the Saws. Imagine he has Spark and he hits your Hamster. You just fucking lose. You just fucking lose. Plus, didn't he search Voltic? Hold on. Didn't he search Voltic? Yeah, he searched Voltic. Why would you Bottomless? I guess the upside is there. I don't fucking know. Anyway, here comes Raikou. Sets a new back row, end-phase Typhoon. You never end-phase Typhoon here. Always hold it. You saw Royal Oppression. You saw Skill Drain. Or you should know Skill Drain. Always hold your Typhoon. Next turn, what you're going to do is you're going to flip your Raikou. You're going to target a back row. If they have Skill Drain, they're going to chain it. You're going to chain your Typhoon. You're going to get your 2-for-1. And that's it. But, I mean, it is going to hit the Dust Shoot, but that's just lucky, really. In any case, here comes the Raikou flip. Targets Royal Oppression. Mills 3. Mills double Rekindling Plague. Now, Summon Magician could make a Synchro, could make a Stardust. That's probably what I'm looking to do. Instead, here comes Summon Fire Dog. That baits Bottomless. I probably would have tried to make Stardust, but we saw Deep Prison last game. We didn't see Bottomless. I get it. Anyway, just stack for Plague. Stardust anyway? No, just Goyo. Does he have a hero? If he has a hero, this is a good play. If he doesn't have a hero, then this is like whatever. Yeah, no, he doesn't have a hero. Interesting. Yeah, this is questionable. I guess he has a body to synchro with, but that body's going to go because Voltic over Raikou, Alias over Stratos. Yeah, this is the play, right? Yep. And he can get the body next turn thanks to this Goyo, though. It's interesting, but does he want to play into Honest? If I'm the Saws, I'm also setting Heavy Storm. Anyway, does he play into Heavy? Does he just swing? He just swings. Wow. He just doesn't give a fuck. I wouldn't have summoned the Turtle. I would have summoned the Flamvell Magician, because the Magician still attacks over Voltic, and then main phase 2 you can make a Stardust. But shit, get it twisted. No waters, no anything. Searches Voltic, but doesn't have waters for the Miracle. And that's just that. Summon the Magician? No, we just don't want to make Stardust ever. I guess he wants to play around Torrential, but you have like... I guess he just wants to play around Torrential. Can't really lose this game otherwise. And 2,000 defense on Goyo is pretty good against this deck anyway. Can't really get over it with much besides Cyber Dragon. There's a D Prison, passes a turn. There's Caius, and that's... Wow, now we play into Torrential. And Spark. Interesting. I would have just crashed that Alias. I feel like you're just burning an Alias for no reason. I would have just tried to crash the Alias and attack for 12. But, hey. Now he switches. Now he decides to play into Mirror Force. I guess it's the same. Could have also made a Stardust at any point with the Flamvell Magician. But, yeah, it's just game. Oh, no, it's not. Just kidding. There's Hero Blast. Are we stable? Kappa, are we stable? Now we set the Heavy Storm? Not back then? Okay. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Hero Blast is chainable, so you don't really need to set the Heavy Storm. Setting the Miracle Fusion when you have Heavy Storm in hand is really, really funny, too. Like, and by funny, I mean it's just terrible. It's just a really bad play. Because you're forced to Miracle before you Heavy Storm, if that ever comes up, which it's not going to. We're going to see Goblin Zombie get summoned. 1200. Hero Blast pops the Pyramid Turtle. Now, do you attack with this Goblin Zombie? Yeah, I think so. If you mill a water, it sucks, but milling Royal Oppression is okay. Oh, man, you milled him to the water. Both games, the Goblin Zombie mill punished. I would have just summoned the Flamvell Magician, man. It's a lethal attacker. I would have just summoned the Flamvell Magician. I don't know. I would have just summoned the Flamvell. They're both lethal, or they're not both lethal. It forces the Hero Blast on the Flamvell Magician. All right. Never utilizing this card. Just thinking of it as a Garnet when it's really not. Anyway, here comes the Miracle. This is going to be kind of hard to beat now. Goblin Zombie searches Pyramid Turtle. An illegal search. You cannot search Pyramid Turtle with Goblin Zombie because it has 1400 defense. Goblin Zombie searches for 1200 or less. Neither players catch this. Goblin Zombie is a pretty commonly played card. Zombies was the #1 most played deck in RBET, the first RBET of the season. Not knowing that Goblin Zombie can't search Pyramid Turtle is not something you should be having at this stage of the game. You should know that Goblin Zombie can't search Pyramid Turtle. It's like me adding Dark Arm Dragon off of Sangan. Like, people know how that works. You should know how Goblin Zombie works. It is a very commonly played card, in my opinion, at least. Well, not even in my opinion, statistically speaking. Anyway, there's a D Prison, which is all right. You're probably just like, I don't know. I don't even know what you do here. Now you make Stardust. Book of Life. No. Book of Life. Oh, God. Bro, just Book of Life. Banish the water. Summon the Goblin Zombie. Summon the Magician. Make Stardust. Attack over the Android. You have D Prison for the 0. You have Stardust to negate the effect. What are you waiting for? Could have made Stardust 18 turns ago. I can't believe this Heavy Storm got activated this game for value. I can't believe that shit. Anyway, Sacra Vanities. Yep. And now the game's over. Crazy that Ghost Rider's siding Vanities in this, but I actually really like it. I'm not sure it's better than Fossil Dyna, but I like the energy. I like the gusto behind it. There's Compulsory. All right. You survive a turn, maybe. No, you're just dead. Oh my God, he survives a turn. Ladies and gentlemen, he survives a turn. I don't know if you're supposed to compulse the Vanities or the Android, but yeah, I think he can resummon the Vanities if he wants to. Or he could just gain his 6. I would have resummoned the Vanities because Return is a card that he could have. That's just me, though. Does he finally make the Stardust? Does he do it? Does he finally do it? No, he makes Thought Ruler. Alright, well that's game, so. No, it's not game because he had to normal summon. Never mind. Yeah, he had to normal summon the Magician. I thought it was game because he could normal summon Zombie Master, but he can't. Making Thought Ruler to make it the 3rd Dark. And also gain life points back. Sure. Thought Ruler also plays around top deck D Prison. Better than Stardust does. Thought Ruler also plays around Gemini Spark like Stardust would. And it also plays around Brain Control. Okay. No, I like this. I like Thought Ruler. I think it's a good play from the Sows. Alright, we see Miracle Fusion. Very unfortunate top deck, but yeah, it's just going to be the way it works. Sacrifice for vanities. Blow it up. Attack for 24. Tough stuff. Raikou going to be an out, though. Let's see if Alias attacks. No, vanities attacks. This has to pop the Alias. And he mills his Mirror Force. Ooh, gross. Anyway, set Zombie Master, set Bottomless Pass. Typhoon, summon Alias, and we're going to the next game. Or next match. Yeah, next game. Yeah, that's right. The Sal's 1-game-1, miraculously. No pun intended. All right, next game, we've got Book of Life, we've got Rekindling, and we've got Hamster Raikou to set him up. Let's see if the mills are good. I would set up this way as well. Maybe be a little bit hesitant to bottomless a Alias, because you're winning this game if your mills go off. So, here comes E-Call for Stratos. Looks like he's going to lead on a... See, here's an interesting thing. If you're... I'm losing my train of thought. It's all slipping away from me. If you're Ghost Rider, you should just summon Alias. You can always Stratos next turn, and if your Alias sticks, then your Stratos can be a Space Typhoon or a Search next turn. It is like gives it more value. And then on top of that, you also know he plays Hamster. So like attacking a set monster, he also know he plays Pyramid Turtle, which is functionally the same as attacking it with an Alias as it is with the Stratos. Summoning Stratos, getting a Search. And then also the Saw's bottomlessing here. Why are you bottomlessing a Stratos? You have a fucking Hamster. Who cares about the Stratos? The Stratos does nothing. He's just going to grab Voltic and bring back his Stratos! Oh my gosh. Okay. Set 3 past the turn. Any heavy Stormers in the chat? No, never. I am 10,000% flipping Hamster here every day of the week. The fuck is he going to do? Attack it with a Voltic? Who cares? You know what I mean? Get your other Raikou. Get your other Raikou. Attack for 1100. Force out these back row. If he goes Oppression, you chain Typhoon on it. Easy clap. Make a Stardust afterward. Go fucking ham, dude. You have plays out the ass. Get your fucking +1 shit going. Alright. Here comes Future Fusion. No. We're not activating it. Okay. Interesting. This is going to be Alias attack the set. Raikou pop a back row. I like popping back row here. I think it's smart. You're understanding that Alias is not what's going to kill you this game. It's going to be the back row. Anyway, that happens. Here comes Future Fusion. Here comes Typhoon on the Future Fusion. I don't like Typhooning the Future Fusion here. I don't. I really don't. I think I like saving the Typhoon for the other back row. Future Fusion isn't going to be good until like 2 turns later. It's really slow. It means his last card has to be Miracle, which you know, if it is, that sucks. But if it's not, you can Book a Life, banish the water, and just completely cuck him. You know he has Voltic, so it's like, is it last card Miracle? We don't know. We did also see that he liked setting Miracle, but if you like setting Miracle, then just go after that with the Typhoon instead. Potentially you hit that with the Typhoon, and then you also don't have to worry about the trap card maybe. So, I don't know. This is just not good, because now you're just losing to these 2 back row. If one of them's Royal Oppression, you've just lost. Yep, there's the Royal Oppression. And that's just the game, pretty much. Anyway, Alias attacks, or Voltic attacks, you have to deprison this. Dude, what? You can't Oppression this. Happens during the damage step. Huge choke, Giga Choke. Stratos can now pop the back row. It's going to. Yep, and then it's going to attack directly. Jeez. Yeah, I know this was all sorts of wrong. That Typhoon should have definitely hit the back row. He recognized that the back row was the problem with the Raikou and aimed it down there, but then he didn't recognize the back row was the problem with the Typhoon and didn't save his Typhoon, which he really needed to for Royal Oppression. And he knows about Royal Oppression, because, obviously. Anyway, he top decks Heavy Storm. Never punished for the sloppy play. Rekindling, going to bring back Fire Dog. Here comes Flamvell Magician. One thing you should have considered was actually... wait, does he have any monsters in grave? No, he has no monsters in grave. He had to do that this way. Never mind. I was thinking you could Book a Life first, but you can't. It's kind of awkward. Magician attacks over that, Magician attacks over that, and you're just crushing. Flamvell Fire Dog is a nasty card. Very, very nasty card. It's busted in this format. Book a Life, banish the Alias, shut off the Hero Blast, search Thought Ruler, search Pyramid Turtle illegally again, and also it's a misplay to search Pyramid Turtle. You should always search Mizuki here. Mizuki's going to be much better to summon. It's more damage. It's also, like, if it gets popped, it's much better to have Mizuki in the grave than have, like if for some reason your Stardust gets removed, like, let's say he goes, like, Miracle Fusion, Crash into Stardust with Absolute Zero, it is so much better to have Mizuki in play than it is to have Pyramid Turtle in play in that instance. So it is a misplay to just search for Pyramid Turtle. Anyway, Royal Oppression not going to do anything after the fact. Sets honest because he's basically forced to. Well, he's not even forced to. I wouldn't have set the honest. I actually would have held it because if he draws a light monster, he stabilizes. So I actually think that you just take the L. You know, you take the 6,400 damage, drop to 300, realize that your repression is going to be dead. And then if you draw a light monster, you can actually stabilize. So, yeah, I don't know. Kind of tough. Now if you draw a light monster, you're just dead. Now most of your top decks are just dead cards. There's no way to come back. Whereas if you had held it, you could have come back. In either case, you draw Space Typhoon, and that's just going to be the match. Crazy game. A lot of illegal searching for Pyramid Turtle. A lot of misevaluating threats, in my opinion. A lot of not dealing with stuff that's like immediately in front of your face, like Absolute Zero. Not attacking Absolute Zeros is like... It's such a crazy thing to do. People need to understand. Gores is a smashing ground for Absolute Zero that costs you 2,500 life points. That's what it does best. Just trade it with the Absolute Zero if you get the chance. That's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Just trade it with the Absolute Zero. It's the best you're going to get out of it. If you just wait, you give them time to draw it out to your Gores, it's never really a good position for you because Absolute Zero needs to clear the play before you make a push regardless. Just take the trade. Just take the Gores trade. It sucks because you take the damage, but just take the trade. In any case, that's going to be today's episode. There's a lot of information to unpack. Check out the Discords for the tournament information. Shout out to these players. Again, I'm pretty harsh in these replays. It's a lot easier to sit here and watch a game and be like, this is a mistake, this is a mistake, this is a mistake, than actually play the game and make the mistakes myself, which I do in some of my videos. Obviously, you've seen me make misplays before. And it's much easier to criticize things in hindsight than it is in as an observer than it is in the actual games. Be critical about it. But it is a good learning tool, so definitely utilize it. See you guys in the next vid. Peace.